Hello, everyone. Welcome to Contractually Speaking, our Malbek podcast. And today I have the pleasure of having Devon from Epic, one of our alliance partners. Epic team does a lot of the implementations for Malbek. How you doing, Devon? Welcome.
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure. So when we talk about CLM implementations, almost 9 times out of 10, I would say 10 times out of 10, we're integrating it to one or other systems, more likely more than one systems. In your experience, what are typical systems that organizations should be looking at when integrating CLMs?
So when integrating CLMs, usually in the beginning, right, it's something simple like e-signature tools, right?
Of course.
But also from the procurement side, we see a lot of Coupa integrations. We also see SAP including Ariba, Salesforce, HubSpot, any intake tool that they might use like ServiceNow or Streamline. So lots of different applications that are involved in the contracting process, either initiating, bringing in account data, making sure that someone who's involved in the contracting process can kind of access contracts data where they're already living today.
And integrate or not is the question, but there's an effort involved. Integration is not simple. It requires more cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, right? It's you got to now work with the admin of the other systems that you're integrating with. There's dependencies. So it does add more effort in the implementation project, but the end result is there are a lot of benefits, reducing data entry, data accuracy, data redundancy. In your opinion or in your experience, when you integrate, let's take Salesforce, very, very popular, common integration. What have you seen customers do with Salesforce, whether they have just the Salesforce CRM or they also have the CPQ component?
So from a Salesforce perspective, I'll kind of go back to what I talked about before. A lot of times they want to make sure that their sales reps can see where their contract is or request a contract from within Salesforce, since that's where they are day to day. So we see a lot of kind of back and forth bidirectional integrations with contract status updates, with data that's being updated within the contract, so that that salesperson is really able to access that where they are day in and day out in Salesforce.
And sometimes we've heard a customer wanting to implement CLM, but in parallel, they're also implementing Salesforce or maybe adding CPQ or implementing Coupa, whatever system it might be. How is that if you're implementing two things at once?
Well, it definitely presents a challenge, right? But there are some benefits to doing them in kind of sort of parallel, right? You want to make sure that you understand what your data model is going to be and where the overlaps are, so that when you're doing your CLM design, you can think about it from an integration perspective right off the bat, right? So if you're in the middle of implementing Salesforce and you know that you want to connect certain data, there's a plan that you can make for having a place for that data to live in CLM and vice versa. So it's very symbiotic, I would say, from my experience. And so while it adds complexity, there are some benefits to it as well.
Sure. So I hear you. I think doing it in parallel has its benefits. Sometimes I've seen that, as you map out your integration points, the data mappings, if the other system changes as they're implementing and they're evolving, it's constantly impacting what you've done on the CLM side. So that could be problematic. So I think there's benefits, but you also have to time it of at what point is the one system stable enough to say, okay, now I'm ready to map it out to the other one, some CLM to Salesforce or Coupa or whatnot.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is about staging it so that maybe you're through build in one application, right, before you start building in another, so that it's already kind of set what that target system for that data looks like. But that doesn't mean that you can't start doing other activities in parallel, right? It's doing that kind of preparation with in mind, knowing that ultimately you want that integration to be part of your first phase of deployment.
Absolutely. Last thing on integration is how to do the integrations. The traditional way, everybody knows APIs. There used to be the flat file way, right? You pass the data in a flat file, the other side imports it. And now we have APIs where 2 points can connect. There's webhooks. There's Amazon has facilities where you can integrate through data sharing. There's enterprise service bus. But the concept of pre-built connectors at Malbek, what we try to do is if I know that, 60-70% of our customers are connecting to Salesforce, Coupa, NetSuite, SAP Ariba, we don't want each customer to build it from scratch. So we build out these productized connectors. As an implementation focused organization, do you have any advice or guidance on how customers should go about integrating with their external systems?
And I think you bring up a great point. I think that kind of the trend, right, is to make sure that it's easy to connect systems because CLM touches so many areas of the business. So we do encourage our customers to look first at the out-of-the-box connectors available from vendors like Malbek, because you've done a lot of work and we've done a lot of work, right, to understand where the most value is going to come from an integration and not overcomplicating it. So if you can meet your use case with an out-of-the-box connector, that's definitely the way to go. Also from a maintenance perspective, right? When you're using that, you're not really on the hook to maintain that, right? The CLM vendor is going to update that as needed. So from a maintenance perspective, that's definitely the way to go. I think it all depends on what APIs are available. Do you perhaps use a middleware tool throughout the rest of your business that you want to leverage? So it's really understanding how your organization approaches integrations. And then we really come with the expertise from an Epic side to kind of talk through the requirements and design and work on kind of the CLM side configuration, and then really rely on your in-house experts for your applications to kind of work together and really partner to make sure the integration can work.
Absolutely. I think maintenance is the key part. It's getting there and getting it live is one thing. Who's going to maintain it? If CLM configurations are changing, who's managing the mappings back to Salesforce, Coupa, Ariba, etc.? And if Salesforce is changing, how are you mapping it back to CLM workflows? And yes, it might be cheaper, easier, quicker to just give APIs to the IT department and let them build it out. But now, when either system is evolving with your business process over the years, your admin for CLM is dependent on that IT person or the Salesforce admin to have to do everything. So the productized connectors allow your CLM admin to maintain those configurations and makes it easier, cost of ownership. All right. With that said, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Devon.
Thanks, Matt.